garment duffel 45-liter by half day. It's transforming 2-in-1 travel duffel bag for long weekends, weddings, and business trips. The hanging compartment comfortably fits up to size 40 regular jacket or suit, shirts, and dresses to keep them wrinkle-free. This bag has also been updated with ballistic nylon, so it's scratch-proof and water-resistant. It also has a ton of pockets and a lined laptop sleeve. Best part of all, they have free shipping and free returns. Check out the premium garment duffel 45-liter by half day for yourself today.
There we go. I just hooked up another interface to that. I got an extra interface, so I just decided to use it. I haven't used these. These are heavy. None, what up? A feather.
Thank you. What did you do to the bag?
Huh?
Thank you. What did you do to the bag?
I took all that lining.
You took it up. You just took it out completely.
Yeah, it had 3 strips of like, you know, like that cardboard that's like it's got sprayed on a plastic. That stuff. And then inside of that, like the bag was here. Inside was this like that cardboard thing, and then inside of that was another bag. So of course it didn't. Well, yeah, because it's too bulky.
When I get back, I may ask you to reinforce the bottom.
Yeah,
like
no, I want to, yeah, because, well, I just did a quick stitch.
No, I appreciate it. I thank you. I was wondering if that's...
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know how she going to feel about it. I was like, but that, I was like, that, no, but like taking that other, I was like, this is trash. Like, I was like, this is, whoever designed that, I was like, that was stupid.
What I might ask you to do, like, later, before I bring it back, is just stitch around the base of it to reinforce...
Well, I want to do that, and I want to stitch around the zipper part again, and like because it was ripped. So I stitched that up. Yeah. But still, where it kind of separates, I want to stitch that again. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, that was a horrible design.
Yeah, I want to do some plastic down there and stitch. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
I could.
Get something I don't have to bring back to you. I'm not bringing it back to you today.
Okay. All right. Mhm. None, thank you. Who's this guy? Get him out of there. None. Don't bother. Don't bother. Yeah, don't bother. I got it. Don't bother. Thank you, man. Yeah, don't worry about that, bro. Matter of fact, I don't know, man. Started playing at like 6 or 7, so probably like 53 years. Yeah, like 53 years. These sticks are huge. Ah, my towel. Where do I live or where I'm from? I'm from New Jersey, but I live in Metro Atlanta. No, it's not. I didn't grow up in the ghetto. I grew up in a 9-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. We had the second biggest house in the neighborhood. Mixed race. Some white people, some black people, some Asian people, some Indian people, a few Latinos, very racially mixed. The 3 biggest houses in the neighborhood were ours. The Threats, there's like a street, like we lived on a corner lot, and the Threats lived on the other corner lot. And the Kennedys lived Not those Kennedys, but Anton Burt, what up? But they were like up the street. Their house was a huge house on the hill. Our house was the second biggest. The Kennedys had the biggest house. We had the second biggest. The Threats had the third biggest. Yeah, I grew up in a really, it was kind of like upper middle class neighborhood. Went to a pretty diverse high school. Just grew up in a really middle class, diverse neighborhood. And then I grew up, like, then I moved down here, and right now I live in a pretty diverse neighborhood. Got a nice house, 3 floors. You know, it's a pretty decent house. So yeah, you know, me and my wife work from home. You know, got a kid in college to be a doctor. Our oldest daughter. My oldest son, he doesn't know if he wants to go to West Point or he wants to go to college. He doesn't know if he wants to go to West Point or some other college. I told him stay in Georgia because you can go to college for free. But yeah, my other son, we got 4 kids. My other son, he's in the 99th percentile in math in the nation, not just Georgia, the nation. We didn't know that. That was like on some, they were like, we need to have talk with you guys about your son Davis. His name is Davis. About your son Davis. We're like, okay. I thought he was in trouble. I was like, this better be good. They were like, well, he's really good at math, and you know, he's in the 99th percentile, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, out of Georgia. Okay, cool. I didn't say that, but a mosquito. And then my wife looked at it again. She was like, no, honey, in the nation. So it was pretty surprising. Well, it actually wasn't surprising. We kind of knew from birth that we knew when he was a baby. Our youngest daughter, she don't know what she wants to be. She's 10 years old, so you know. Zavarius, what up? Xander. Yeah, so Anton Burt, you said, wow, that's impressive. It was really easy. Bro. Why is this chick not... Girl. There it is. What the heck is going on? I need to charge this thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to charge my keyboard. You say it's impressive. It's really not. The way we did it, bro. We bribed them with cakes and pies, man. That's... Dude, I would make them read huge books and whatnot. I'd be like, I got a bag of candy. If you read this book, you get this bag of candy. Just bribe them with cake. You can get a kid to do anything for a bag of candy, bro. I'm telling you. We bribed them with cakes and pies and candies, and you get this. We'd have huge bags of candy. This is what I would do. I would like take like the Bible and be like, read this book of the Bible. And then I'd say, or like we have a book that, it's how to do algebra, It's a pretty thick book. It's about that big. It's pretty thick. Read that book and show me what you learned. And like, or if it's a book, I'll say, write a paragraph of like a synopsis of what the book is about. I don't want no I don't want like a one sentence, no. But you don't have to give me a book report. Just give me a brief, a little paragraph of what the book was about, or show me what you've learned in that algebra book. Have it in. I'd set a time. I'd say have it in by Thursday night. And Friday morning, when I take you to school, you can have it in by Thursday night. Pick the candy you want. So when you turn it in on Thursday night, okay, Dad, I want such and such candy. I didn't care how big it was. I want such and such candy. Okay, cool. And if it got done Thursday morning while they were at school, I'd go buy the candy, bro. Just bribe them with candy and cakes and pie. Now, you got to have some good dental insurance because it's a lot of candy. But they're going to learn, bro. I'm telling you. Bribe with cakes and pies, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, bro. Like there were times I spanked them. And I spanked them. I talked to them first. Because you can't punish somebody for doing something if they don't know the rules. Like if they it depends on why they're doing it. If they're doing it out of defiance, then there has to be consequences. I spank them. If they're doing it out of ignorance, then I have to be like, you can't punish somebody for being ignorant to something. You can't. But if it's an act of defiance, then there has to be consequences. Because I'm going to tell you, acts of defiance become, if you don't check it, they're going to be trying you. They're going to try your chin. I've seen it happen. They'll try you, Kids will try you, especially when you get to a certain age where the hormones are popping and whatnot. It's like, all right, now, I think I could take that. You know what I mean? You don't want to put fear in them, but you want to put a level of respect. You know what I mean? Plus, I have a gym right there, so they're in the gym, and I gotta stay fit. But respect for authority comes from if kids don't respect you, they're not gonna respect authority. They're not gonna respect authority. And I think as far as being a parent, there's a balance between being a parent and being a confidant. You know what I mean? Like I think the one extreme is you just want to be your kid's friend. They got friends. Why do they need another one that's like old enough to be their parent? Like that makes no. It's weird. But on the other hand, kids don't need a taskmaster. That's how you crush their confidence. You know what I mean? So you gotta know when to. Thank you. Really? I mean, I'm not just you know, it's not illegal in America. You know, you might get 1 or 2 pops, pop, pop, you know, and then I'll explain it to them before I do it. Like, bro, there's got to be consequences. There must be consequences for your actions. You know, even, you know, and really, to be honest, I think what happens is you get to a certain age, they get to a certain age where it's kind of like, all right, this is kind of old. Like, once they start getting to like 9, 10, you don't really have to, you know, you don't really have to do all that, you know. But I'll say this. I met some kids where they got no discipline. I know kids that I grew up with that had no discipline. One of them is he's a psychopath. He's in jail for murder. He likes to off people. Like, that's what he likes. Like, I know another dude, he just likes taking it from women. Like, no consequences, you know, no consequences for their actions. Like, you become a psychopath. You know, you become like not antisocial. I can't remember the word. You become a sociopath, you know. Oh, thank you. Jambalaya. All you gotta do is just put in a little more work, bro. Like, I made a decision like around August, September of last year. I had this practice pad kit. I had all, like, I had this stuff for, I don't know how long. It sat in the corner. I said, whatever. I just didn't like it because of the padding and, you know. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start practicing. And then, so I just set it up right here. This is where I do all my mixing and mastering and recording, whatever. So I set it up, and I just decided to start streaming, because when you stream, you can actually, it's like the best way to grow as a musician is to record yourself. So that's why even like fighting, you know, dudes are like shadow boxing, you know, in the mirror or whatever, because they want to see their form. The best way to get better is to record yourself, and it's even better if you can film yourself. You know what I mean? So I just decided to, like, when I'm done, I sit there and I watch that stuff. I watch the stuff. Okay, I'm checking my form. I'm listening for the consistency of my playing and what have you. So, you know, I just did this to kind of A, hold myself accountable, B, to kind of self-correct, you know, and I just wanted to get better, man. You know, I wanted to get better. Even if I had this practice pad, like I got another practice pad on the snare, you know, and I'll just, you know. These sticks are huge. They're logs. Yeah, Lars is pretty easy. Lars is pretty easy. You know.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you. Thank you, Jambalaya. Bro. No, bro. Not right now. Yeah, this is, I'm kind of going through my routine. No offense, bro, but Lars is not. Lars is kind of easy, bro. Lars is kind of easy. And usually I take requests, but now's not the time. Kind of going through my routine. You know, and plus I don't like taking requests because I think just, can you play such and such and such and such? Like, people think, what happens is people think, oh, it's gonna sound great, and you're like, that's all it is. A lot of stuff is just really simple. It's just, there's the bass and the guitars and the vocals that kind of make it pop. But if you hear it, you're like, man, this is really simple, you know. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 Okay, well, if you think I can't do it, cool. Wesley, what up, man? Ah, I love this. I'll tell you this. Marion. Lars couldn't do what I'm doing. I know he can't. I know he can't. You've never seen Lars do this. Never seen Lars do that. Never. These sticks are huge. Yeah. These are like logs. Now, I'm going to say this, Anton Burt. I like how you worded that. Because it's in my opinion. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, such and such the best drummer in the world. No, he's not. You know, that in your opinion, he's the best drummer in your world. But he's not the best drummer in the world. There's too many good drummers out there. As far as drummers, man. Okay. I don't think there's a best drummer in the world. I think there are classes of drummers. I'll say, what's his name? Mitch Mitchell, John Bonham. I think there's rock classes like Mitch Mitchell, John Bonham, Stuart Copeland, Thomas Hawk from Meshuggah. Who else? Joey Jordison, Jimmy Sullivan, what's his name? Danny Carey from Tool, Dave Grohl, what's his name? He played for Blink 182. Can't remember his name. Travis Barker, Trey Cool. I think there are classes. I think they're all pretty much in the same class in that, like, for the rock category, I think they're like the all-time. There's some of, not all of them, some of the all-time greats. Even like a lot of people clown Alex Van Halen. Alex Van Halen was actually really good. Unfortunately, you had to see him in concert to, like, when he and Eddie were kind of improvising, they would kind of battle back and forth. And that's where you really saw, oh, Alex is a beast. Bill Ward, of course. Bill Bruford. Alan White. Both Bill Bruford and Alan White were sick. Carl Palmer from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Ginger Baker. Not so much. I'm not going to say he was bad. He just wasn't my taste. Cozy Powell. And then there are guys who... Neil Peart, of course. I don't know how I could leave him out. Vinny Appice, Carmine Appice. And then there are kind of like another class. I call these guys the Prague all-around class. Thomas Lang, Marco Miniman, guys like that. You know, they can pretty much play anything. Oh man, Jojo Mayer, guys like that. They can play anything. Dennis Chambers. Then also I'll say this. Then there's the game changers. Buddy Rich, Thomas Hawk, John Bonham, Stuart Copeland. I put him in the group with. I put all of those guys in the group together with J.D. Beck, Ronald Bruner, Guys like that. I think they're kind of like the game changers in that they make you see drums differently. They make you think of drums differently. And then you got the guy, well, Tony Williams, he's another game changer. Billy Cobham is another game changer. Elvin Jones. Without Elvin Jones, he is the inventor of two tom, two up, and two down. That's it. Two up and two down. Before it was like one tom. Wasn't even one tom. It was like bells and whistles. It was a tom on the floor. And then it became one up and one down. He invented the modern 5 or 6 piece drum set where it was like 2 up, 2 down, a crash, a ride. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's I mean, so there's game, and his style. Like, he was very polyrhythmic. He brought a lot of polyrhythms into drums. What's his name? Horatio Hernandez. He's another game changer. Like, if you see guys like El Espario, everything, like the stuff he's doing, Horatio Hernandez was doing that years ago. Like in the 80s, man. When he was like 16, 17, you know. So they're game changers. Like, he was doing a da 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 da, you know, and doing all this other stuff, and it was sounding like a full percussion, like drums and percussion. It was sounding like a bunch of people. Like, it sounded like 3 people, but it was just one guy. The crazy thing about it is he developed that out of necessity because he was feeling lonely, bro. He's Cuban, and he was a drum prodigy, and he grew up in Cuba. He's Cuban, and Cuba is like, you know, they're like, okay, this is what you do. Like, okay, well, you're okay. You play. They have these compulsory tests to see, you know, oh, you're good at mechanical stuff, so you're going to be an engineer. You're good at singing, so you're going to be a singer. You're good at banging on stuff, so you're going to be a drummer. You're good at painting, so you're going to paint houses. Like, you know, oh, you're very analytical, so you're going to be a lawyer, like, whatever. Or you're going to work in administration, and, you know, but he was picked, he was chosen. They had a big room, and they saw which instruments the kids gravitated towards, and he gravitated towards drums. And they were like, okay, you're a drummer. So by the time he was 15, he was the guy. He played on all of, like, when they had movie soundtracks and they needed a drummer, they got him. When, like, commercials, they got him. They had, like, you know, talk shows and stuff. He was the drummer. And they would make him practice all the time. They would force him to practice. And he would be in a room just sitting there practicing. And he said he felt lonely, bro. He was like, you know, like, it's kind of sad, man. He was like, bro, he's like, they asked him, they interviewed him. They said, how did you come up with the left foot clave and all of that stuff? And he said, man, I did it because I was lonely. He was like, they would put me in a room and make me practice. He said, I wanted to sound like I was playing with other people, man. I was just lonely. I was like, that's sad, man. So, you know, but he did it out of emotional necessity, how to deal with things, how to deal with loneliness. And eventually he was playing with a guy named Gonzalo Rubalcaba. And they toured Europe, and they're all Cuban. They escaped. They just left, and he's stuck in Italy. Just by this time he was like 17. He was like, yeah, he was about to be 18, 17, stuck in stuck in Italy. Thankfully, Spanish and Italian is very close linguistically. So he was able to kind of make his way. He actually became a percussion teacher in like the University of Milan or something like that. And then he stayed there until he was like 19. He saved up his money. And then he paid this guy who smuggled people. And the guy was like, look, man, I could get you to Canada. You know, I could smuggle you to Canada. But if you go to the, you know, Canadian, like, American border, you just walk there and say, I'm from Cuba. And they'll let you in. Like, America is like, if you're from a Soviet country, like if you're from China, or you're from the former Soviet Union, or you're from Cuba, like, as long as you make it here, Americans are gonna let you in, you know. Or if you're from like another country that's like, you know, they're killing people, and you can say, hey man, I'm seeking asylum in America, man, like they're gonna kill me and my family. They'll let you come here, and they'll let you be a citizen. And that's what he did. He went to Canada. They smuggled him to Canada on a ship. And this is all in like the 80s. I think it was like a cargo ship or something like that. Like he was in like a cargo crate or something. Like, you know, those giant those crates that they stick on ships. He was like one of those. And they smuggled him to Canada, and he walked. You know, he's probably in Montreal. I don't know where he was. He walked to the Canadian border, like Canada borders with New York State, and he was like, hey man, I'm Cuban and I'm seeking asylum. And they took him, and they put you up in a place to stay, and you know, he got a job, and he was living in Spanish Harlem. And I you know, the thing about Spanish Harlem in New York is during the summertime, you can walk down the street and you'll see comparsa bands playing over there, or like salsa band, like in the streets. It's wild. That's one thing I miss about New York. Like, you can see guys just pulling out congas and bongos and all of that stuff, and they just discovered them playing on the streets, you know. And after a while, it was like, who is this guy? And you know what I mean? So he started playing with everybody. Michael Brecker, you know, now he's like a legend. But he's a game changer. He changed the possibilities of like how guys see drums or approach drums, or he extended the language of polyrhythmic playing. So, you know. Really? Okay. But yeah, man, they there's another girl, Esperanza Spalding. She did the same thing. She's like an incredible bassist and singer. But they had all these instruments, and everybody chose their instruments, but the only thing that was left was, you know, the upright bass. And she was like, okay, well, that's the only thing left. Like, they asked her, they're like, how did you come about playing the bass? She goes, well, they opened the doors, they let us all walk in, and we walked in, and everybody took everything. And the interviewer was like, what? Everybody took everything. The only thing that was left was the bass. And it was like, I couldn't really, you know, I was a little kid, you know, so my hands had to grow, my body had to grow. She said, I only took bass because that was the only thing available. Now she's like incredible. So, you know, but yeah, so I started off as a guitarist, and I was kind of like nerdy. I had braces, thick glasses, really bad skin. I look like, if you ever seen Family Matters, I look like Steve Urkel, except I have really bad acne. I was really nerdy. And like I said, I grew up in a very culturally diverse neighborhood. And I was into rock and roll. And there was this guy. He was the cool guy at school. And mind you, I've been playing guitar since I started playing guitar at like 5. It was about 5. And by this time I was pretty decent, man. I was actually pretty good. But in my desperation to be cool, I'm hanging out and we're at Charlie Malik's house. They used to practice in his living room. Charlie Malik played bass, Darren Vork played guitar, and Ronnie Cockermanzadi played drums. And he was like the cool kid. We're like 12 years old. All the girls liked him. Like, he drove around in a moped. And like, he was like the cool kid. Later on, he taught me a lot too. But I thought if I could play drums, I could be cool like him. So I lied to my friends and said, I could play drums. Now, the problem with that is I had to learn how to play drums. So I got a spackle bucket and some pots and pans and some plastic bowls. And they used to have these hangers. They had pieces of wood going down like that, and they were covered in fabric. And they had the wire hanging down, and they had a piece of wood, like a stick. So I went in my mom's closet, and I took a bunch of those hangers, and I bent out the metal, and I took the sticks, and I used those as drumsticks. And I would this was my bass drum, so I would be like, well, at first I was like this. Because I thought playing drums was like playing cello. There are no left-handed cellists. There are no left-handed violinists. I thought drums was the same way. I thought there are no left-handed drummers. You guys can't see now. Now it's flipped. Like this, I'm actually right-handed. It's flipped. But I thought, you have to play right-handed, so I played open-handed. But after that, I just shedded, and I practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced until I eventually, I just buried my head and practiced incessantly. And then people heard that I played drums, even though they never heard me play. They heard I played drums, and they were like, one of my friends, Tommy Morris, he had an old CB 700 kit. He was rich. And he's like, hey, Mark, I got a drum set. You can have it. I'm like, yeah. I was like, where is it? He's like, it's in my basement. If you take a walk with me, go to my house and come get it. So he gave me his drum set. Had cheap cymbals. I beat the crap out of him. But I had that kit for a while. I had a cheap CB 700 drum set. And then I had a Slingerland snare that somebody threw away. Nothing wrong with it. They just threw it away. So I took it. It was sitting on the side of the road, waiting for the garbage man to get it. I took it, brought it home, and cleaned it up and everything. And I had that snare for years. Then I saved up some money, got some really, really cheap cymbals. And I got even better because I had a drum set, an actual drum set. And then by then I had kind of fallen in love with drums. And I started playing. I would practice 5 hours a day, every day. I would come home at 4 o'clock and practice from 4 to 6 o'clock, eat dinner, go back downstairs, practice from 6:30 to 10 o'clock. It was, sometimes it was sometimes I'd practice 5 hours, sometimes I'd practice 6 hours. I would just practice. And then on the weekends, it'd be about 7 hours I'd practice. I'd break it up, but it'd be about 7 hours. Sunday, it'd be we didn't go to church, so, it'd be about 7 hours. I'd break it up throughout the day. Um, and then I used to do the whole BMX freestyle. I had the half pipe in my backyard, like an 8-foot high, 12-foot wide, about 20 feet long. Had a deck and everything, you know. And I used to ride for a team. I was sponsored and everything, you know, but I would ride, I'd practice, and then go in my basement and play drums, and then practice, and then play drums, and then practice, and then play drums. And then a friend of mine, Dave Bizzigatti, and Phil Finabio. His mom got remarried and became Phil Wajda, but I know him as Phil Finabio. We all used to ride together, and Phil was like, Dave played guitar already, so he brought his rig over to my house. Phil wanted to learn how to play drums, so I said, he wanted to learn how to play bass, so I said, go get a bass and I'll teach you how. So I taught him how to play bass, and the first band I was in was a punk band. And I didn't realize it at the time because I was kind of in a vacuum. I was still ashamed to actually play in public because I was like under the impression that if they saw that I sucked, then they'd be like, you don't play drums. That happened, I was like maybe 12. So by this time I'm like 15. So then people start coming over and they're like, Mark, you're actually good, you know. And then word got around, and back then there were tons of good guitarists, but there weren't a lot of good drummers. So everybody wanted me to be their drummer. So it's like anything, the more you do it, the better you get. So I'm practicing, but I'm also playing in all of these bands. You know, all my friends had bands. I'm playing in all these bands. So because I'm playing constantly, I just get better and better and better and better. It's like there was nothing really special.
Hi, everyone.
Huh?
I was just telling everybody hi.
Oh, I don't know if they can see you. Really? Okay. You know, so, you know, but yeah, so I you know, but I always had a guitar. I always had a guitar, man. I always had a guitar. I don't want this to run out. I don't want it to go dead. I forgot to plug it up. Okay, good. I always had a guitar, man. I always did. It's, you know, I always had an amp and always had a guitar. And it was crazy because I started playing drums so much that it's like anything, man. Use it or lose it. So a lot of the stuff that I was able to play back then, I just can't play anymore. You know, I could fool people into thinking like, man, this dude's a pretty good guitarist, but I can't do the stuff I used to be able to do, you know. And plus, like, I kind of like was like okay with guitar because there were dudes who were like, I don't know who you guys know who Black Label Society is. Zach Wild, who started Black Label Society, he came from Ozzy, started Black Label Society. You know, after he left Ozzy, we were all like, I grew up with him. Like, we were all in the same friend group, and you know, we all had bands together and we would compete. So, you know, that ain't his real name. Yeah, like we all came up together. Like Living Color, black rock band, the lead singer Corey Glover, he's my cousin. He's my first cousin. Like, we all grew up in the same area of New Jersey, so it's crazy. I grew up in Long Branch, New Jersey. Zach grew up in Jackson. Corey grew up in Neptune. And it's all like, Neptune and Long Branch used to be rivals. You know, like, we all came up in the same area, man, you know. So it was wild, you know. But yeah, man, it was pretty interesting. But my point is, all this drum stuff, I'm still keeping up a lie. You know, still keeping up the lie of actually being a drummer. So it's just a 50, it's like a 5-decade lie. You know, like I played drums before, like, but as far as it being my main instrument, his cymbals are horrible. Crash of, I want one of those Dennis Chambers Crash of Doom cymbals. Yeah, I'm keeping up the lie, bro. Yeah, keeping up. Yeah. How does that sound? I used to think that. I really lost a lot, bro. I really lost a lot. Plus, broken fingers and stuff. Like this, you know, thumb. It's pretty bad, bro. Remember when I told you I used to do the BMX and all that stuff? It bangs your hands up, bro. Bangs your hands up, bangs your elbows up, bangs your knees, and your yeah. So my hands are kind of, you know, pretty banged up. And plus that, it doesn't play very well. The intonation's like shot. My hands can't take that. The crazy thing about it is, hold on. see if my sun is up. What's crazy is, I remember back in the day, man, there would be like a lot of people. Like, it was just, you would see random drum sets just sitting on this, like, on the curb. People were throwing stuff away. I think you don't see that as much anymore, because I think nowadays, you know, there aren't as many people playing actual instruments. You know, I think dudes are playing, well, one, they're not playing as many instruments, and number two, people are quicker to sell them than to actually throw them away. But it was nothing to see a drum set on the side of the road waiting for the garbage man to come pick up, or like, my friend gave me that black CB 700, but I added, I eventually found enough pieces on, like, I'd walk down the street and see like a bass drum and be like, I'll take that. And that's how I started playing double bass. You know, or I'd see like an old beat up drum set with like the toms were left. And I'd be like, okay, well, and I would just like make it in such a way where it just kind of like, eventually I had a fake wannabe Neil Peart drum set. And then I sold my guitars and my amp. I had like a cheap PV amp. I sold it. I had a fake. It was a fake, a red, I'll never forget it, ES335. It was a cheap one. It was like it was like a Sears one. And it had the whammy bar. I'm left-handed, so it had a whammy bar. And I sold it and got I took the money and bought some camber cymbals. I bought camber cymbals, and then later on, I don't know how I got the money. I think I was okay. I think I was I don't know how I got the money. It might have been like Christmas money or birthday money or whatever. I bought a big Zildjian 20-inch swish knocker, which is basically, it's a 20-inch China cymbal. So I had that. But as far as the drums, I would just like find stuff on the side of the road and okay. Huh? What did she text? I didn't send this to her. What is she? Ah. Oh. Oh, this is old. She just... What? No. Yeah, yesterday. Okay. late notifications. But yeah, man, you don't see that anymore. You don't see it anymore. It's wild. And plus my hands, bro. I'm almost 60, man. I got sensitive hands. I wish I would have kept it up, man. I really do. You know, I can play enough to get my ideas across now, but like even now, like, you know, it's kind of like, oh, how can you play drums? I had to actually change my technique. Like I tell people this all the time. I had to change. Like I have really bad wrists and hands and what have you. So I had to actually start playing with finger technique. You know, to who is this guy, man? He's got to be from Australia. The accent gives it away. I like this guy. He can play anything, man. Plays metal, plays jazz. He's like, he was playing drum and bass. This guy can play anything. Yeah. What? I need that, bro. Bro, somebody found a pair of Yamaha NS10s in the trash. I was like, what? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. I was on this Reddit forum, and the guy was like, "Are these good?" I was like, he was like, I was walking down the street and blah 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 blah, and I saw these, so I went online, and they said that they're discontinued, but blah blah blah. Are these good? People are like, "Are you out of your mind?" He's like, "Yeah, I found them in the trash." I was like, "Oh my god, how come I don't get lucky like that?" Although, found this in the trash, a little dirty. Found this in the trash. Found this in the trash. Of course, I put all this on it. But yeah, I found this in the trash. I found that in the trash. Found this in the trash. Found these in the trash. And they don't even make, Sony doesn't, they don't make these anymore. They make they made 3 models. They made the kind of the prosumer, then they made the mid, and then they made these. These are like the high end. Yeah, I just like went on Amazon, got these. Went on Amazon, got the like the cushions. Yeah, found these in the trash. But yeah, so yeah, I found some gems in the trash. I got some stuff around here. I got some stuff around here, bro. I found those monitors. You can't see them. They're Yamahas. They're not NS10s. What I did was I got HS7s, because they're kind of like, they're kind of like NS10s, but not. They didn't have those white cones. They were just like, the original cones were like tan and black. So I just I took those cones out and I ordered a pair of HS7s. NS10s and HS7s are the exact same size. So I just ordered the HS7 cones and stuck them in there, and the only difference is those are active, whereas NS10s are passive. But yeah, I've found some stuff in the trash. This place is dusty. Wow. I've been fortunate. So not only that symbol, but I found, it was a set of symbols. That was the dirtiest one. I kept that because I just wanted to keep it. But I found that one. I found 2 of those. One was an 18-inch crash. That's an 18-inch crash ride. And a pair of hi-hats. I still have the hi-hats. These were part of that. Yeah, I didn't pay for these. So I found them in the trash. Found them right over there, right up the street. I was like, me and my 2 younger kids, we were gonna go on scooter rides. Like I was hanging out with them, and we had the scooters. I was like, and I'm the first one to ride out. I ride out. I see my neighbor on the corner putting out these symbols and stuff and stands. This stand came from the trash. Putting out symbols, and I'm like, he looked at me. He was like, "Oh, you want them?" I was like, "Yes." What? So as soon as my kids came out on their scooters, I was like, "Hey, go put them scooters up. Come on, give me a hand." And yeah, so I've gotten fortunate, man. You know. And I was like, bro, he was like, "You know what? You're a drummer. I should have thought like you would want them. So now I'm thinking, I'm like, I have found some gems in the trash. I need to find some guitars, man. I want a decent left-handed Strat, because I'm left-handed. I want a decent left-handed Strat. Even if it's like a Squire, because I can always order pickups and hot rod it and, you know, turn it into a Frankenstrat basically. But that's what I want to do. Dude, I've found cajones in the trash. That tripod, I have an extra duty, heavy duty tripod for my camera. I found that in the trash. So I found like computer monitors, you know, in the trash. Like my neighbor's like, oh, well, I don't want it. You want it? I'm like, yeah, sure. So, you know. I love Green Day, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh. No way. This cop he locked up an FBI agent. And then he said, what is this? It's fake? He's like, no, I'm an FBI agent. No way. It happens all the time, man. The cops here sometimes are stupid. Wow. Bro, it happens, man. It happens, bro. No way. He goes, what is this? People like to act like they're cops. He's like, I'm a federal agent. He's like, you're right. No way. It's happened, bro. It happens in America. Cops are stupid here. I mean, I'm not like, I hate all cops. I think, there's a need for cops because there's a need for law enforcement and law and order. Oh no, now he's like, oh okay, well he's like, well you didn't identify. He was like, I told you I was a federal agent, and I showed you the badge. You said it wasn't real, and then he's like, well people impersonate cops all the time, they investigate agents all the time, or law enforcement all the time. And he goes, okay, well we'll see when when I talk to your sergeant, we'll see. And he's like, well we don't have to go that far. Oh yeah, we do. He's begging. He's begging. He's like, listen. He's like, sir. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. He's begging, like, please don't tell my boss. Please don't tell my boss. Ah. I mean, say what you gotta say, bro. I don't really. I'm a pretty what would you call it? I'm pretty objective. I tend to think of things pretty objectively. Plus, I've spent a lot of time in other countries, so I could see the the comparisons. I could see where the problem with being offended is because if you haven't seen the other side, if you haven't seen the alternatives, then you tend to get offended because all you know is what you've seen. You know what I mean? So I don't I don't get offended by that. There's certain things. Let me tell you something. I love America. I wouldn't want to be born anywhere else. But it's not perfect. No place is perfect. No place is perfect. So, yeah. And you have to consider this. America, like for instance, I had to people assume. I'll just speak from Black American experience. When you go outside of America, they assume certain things about you. And the reason why they assume certain things about you is because America, part of their strength is in information, whether it's true or it's disinformation. But a lot of how people perceive Black Americans is completely different than how Black Americans actually are. Put it that way. So it's completely different. Like, there are certain assumptions that, oh, well, we thought you guys were such and such, or You know, we thought all, you know, black American women were, you know, 304s, and they give it up to anybody, and it's like, no, that's the image that America, or they're all money hungry, or they're all gold diggers, or they wear 50,000 pounds of weave, and they're disloyal, and they're gold diggers. No, that's the image that America has portrayed to the world about us. You know what I mean? Or all, you know, black American dudes are, you know, thieves and robbers, and you can't trust them, and blah 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 blah. Or they all rap and play basketball, and you know, and it's like, or they're all stupid, and that, you know, they don't believe in education. No, that's the image that is portrayed. You know, that's the image America portrays of us. You know what I mean? So it's America is very good at marketing and projecting an image. You know what I mean? So, you know, like I tell people, all, you know, I would like, for instance, a friend of mine, he's from Norway. He's from Norway. So he kind of has an outside perspective of how America is, and he was kind of like, America's got some dirt. Like, you know, they got some dirt on how they portray people. Like, and it's kind of weird because he would call out people, be like, yo, man, that's not right. No, that's not true because A, B, C, and D. And they would look at him and assume that because, you know, he's European, that, oh, surely he's going to side with, you know, side with them. And he kind of has an outside perspective, so it tends to be it's not connected to any emotion, you know. It's not connected to Mama and them and Cousin Buck, and you know what I mean. It's not connected, so he can speak objectively about things. So, you know, I think like I said, I think what happens is, there are a lot of Americans who blindly believe what America is selling them. And all it takes is you leaving the country. And not just leaving the country to go to Jamaica. Or go to I've been to a few countries, you know. And when I went there, we stayed there a while. And I was fortunate, my mom worked for the airlines, so we flew everywhere. And then later on, you know, being a musician, you know, we toured Europe. Like, you know what I mean? So just experiencing other cultures, it gives you a more realistic perspective of where you're from. So, you know. You could say stereotypes. There's some people. The problem is when the stereotype is placed on one specific people, one specific group of people. That's the problem. You know, because, for instance, you know, America would have you think only black people live in the hood and have bad diets and don't like education. But I live in Georgia. There ain't nothing but trailer park people, poor white people, smoking meth, bad diet. They're on welfare. That, you know, America would have you think that, you know, the typical person on welfare in America is a black person. When numerically, that's impossible. We only make up 17% of the country. All 17% can't be, even if all 17%, you know, were on welfare, numerically, it doesn't make sense. That being said, African Americans are denied the most. We're denied the most. If you go to Georgia, go to Alabama, go to Mississippi, go to, you know what I mean, go to Louisiana. Like, there's, you know, a lot of, you know, PWT. Like, they got a show called Honey Boo Boo, you know, where they were on welfare, they were all fat, and they were all like, there's a lot of them. There's a whole lot of them. You know what I mean? So, you know, it just, you know, it's not, but, you know, the rise of the whole, you know, the welfare queen image that came about in the 90s, that's what they were selling, and that's what people believe. You know what I mean? That's what they believe. You know, yeah, like it's, but my point is, like for instance, they say in the black community it is this big, well, black on black crime. Let me tell you something. Of course there's black on black crime, because there's white on white crime, and there's Asian on Asian crime, and there's Latino on Latino crime. It's called the proximity principle. People tend to prey on the very people they live around. There's no such thing as black on black crime, but they villainize black folks for preying on their own kind when everybody preys on their own kind. The guy who tried to shoot Trump was a white guy. It wasn't a black guy, it was a white guy. You know what I mean? Like, I used to hang with these dudes. They were from the Philippines. They lived, before they moved to Jersey, they lived in California. They left California because they were, there's a term for it. I can't remember. Bipping? I can't remember what the term is. But they would literally go into the Asian community and do home invasion, tie people up and rob them. Like, they were preying on other Asian people. Why? Because Asians prey on Asians, and whites prey on whites, and blacks prey on blacks, and Latinos prey on Latinos. That's human nature. But we're vilified for acting like humans. So there's you know what I mean? So like I think stereotypes are applied to everyone. I don't think they're applied to certain groups. I think they're applied to everyone. I think every race, like poor welfare people, they got, let me go to New Jersey. They got poor welfare Asians. Go to Georgia. They got poor welfare Asians. You know what I mean? They got poor welfare white people. They got poor welfare black people. They got poor welfare Latino. They got poor welfare Asians. They got poor welfare. They got, it's just, there's poor people who don't want to do anything aren't relegated to just black people. It's everybody. The laziness is endemic of just people. Just everybody. We're all jacked up. All of us. We're all jacked up. You know, and I think it's just the social political structure of America that's kind of like inflames it. But personally, like, I think, like I was telling somebody this one time, I asked him, I said, do you think racism will ever end? And she was like, yes, I do. I was like, it'll never end. And she looked at me crazy. I said, because if we were all gray, there'd be the talls versus the shorts, or the fats versus the skinnies, or the blue eyes versus the green eyes, or the curly hair versus the straight hairs, or the big nose versus the little nose, or, I don't know, the big ears versus the little ears, or the people who live in the hills versus the people who live in the valley. Like, it just is what it is. That's part of human nature. Like, we will find differences and say, oh, you're not this because you don't fit into this category. They're all the same. You know what I mean? So, yeah. You know, we're all the same, bro. We're all the same. I'm black because my ancestry is Africa. This skin is natural sunscreen. My hair is the way it is because kinky hair expels heat. White people have the hair that they have because you can layer it. Why do you need to layer your hair? Because it keeps your head warm. Why do you need your head warm? Because they live in Europe. They don't live in Africa. That's why. You know what I mean? Like, we are what we are because of human adaptation. There's nothing better. There's nothing worse. We're like iguanas. Some iguanas look this way. Some iguanas look that way. Like, we look different because of human adaptation. It's not, it's about what's better suited for the environment. For instance, like even white people's skin. The reason why white people aren't white, their skin is translucent. The reason why it's translucent is because the biggest source of vitamin D comes from the sun. So when you're in Europe, there ain't as much sun as in Africa. So in order for your body to absorb vitamin D, your skin has to get lighter and lighter and lighter. Just like in Africa, to protect against your skin frying, like it takes a lot for me to get sunburned. It takes a lot. Like I have to literally be sitting in the sun, like, and nothing's gonna happen. Whereas my white friends, they'll jump out there and they'll be like, oof. They're out there for like 40 minutes and they fry. For me, I can sit there and deal with it. Now, because I live in America, there's not as much sun. So what I struggle with is vitamin D deficiency, which is, most African Americans or black people or people who originated from Africa, they go to Europe. If they live in Europe or they live in America, they're going to suffer from vitamin D deficiency. These are facts. You can Google this stuff. These are facts. Like, I have to take vitamin D pills. You know what I mean? And what lack of vitamin D contributes to obesity, and it contributes to mental health issues, and it contributes to a lot of stuff. So, but yeah, man, we are what we are because of human adaptation. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it. There's a reason why Ethiopians, Tarahumara Indians, are great at running marathons, because they live in high altitudes where the air is very thin. They live there. You know what I mean? So of course they're gonna be good at marathon. Like, there's reasons for everything. We're just not this color or this shape or this size arbitrarily. There's a reason for it. So exactly, we're Homo sapiens. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, humans have adapted. That's all it is, bro. I'm gonna like, if you look at Europe, you notice the darker Europeans are closer to Africa. It's not because they've been going across the Mediterranean and sleeping with people. No, it's because the further you get to the place where all the sunlight is, the lighter people get. It's human adaptation. For instance, another instance, they found this. They studied Indian people, from India. They studied their diet, and then what happens is they studied how they metabolized food, and then they had them come to America. Well, they studied people who emigrated to America. Some of them became cab drivers and what have you. And they studied those same people, and they had digestive problems, high blood pressure, and all of this stuff because of the standard American diet. American diet is trash. It's garbage. It's garbage. But their children were able to digest that same food. They didn't suffer from the same thing their parents did. So your environment and the food you eat has a lot to do with how you adapt. If you look at Eskimos can consume so much fat, like what would be deemed as unhealthy levels of fat, because that's what their bodies have learned to digest. Why? Because they need it. They live in Alaska. It's cold there. You need as much fat. You need as much high calorie, you need as high a calorie diet as you can. Killing whales and eating the fat and all that stuff. That's what they need. They can digest that stuff. Whereas people in the continental United States and all 50 states or 48 states, they couldn't digest that stuff. We'd get high blood pressure. So yeah. well, you're right. It's racist to even like, because we're all part of the. That's why I don't believe in race. We're all part of the human race. You know what I mean? Like, we all are. We're all part of the human race, man. We're all humans. Unless you got some aliens from another, like, but we're all part of the human race, man. We're all part of the human family. You know what I mean? But human nature is you look different, so you're inferior. That's human nature. Like I said, if we were all gray, there'd be the talls versus the shorts, or the fats versus the skinnies, or the big ears versus the little ears. That's human nature. Like, I don't attribute racism to one group of people. We're all jacked up, bro. All of us. Every last one of us. We're all jacked up. You know. Unfortunately, what happens is a lot of people subscribe to certain things because it's easier. It explains their worldview of things. You know, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, it explains why things are the way they are. You know, because by nature, humans are lazy. We don't want to look into things. We want somebody who sounds just smart enough to say something that their itching ears want to hear. We don't want to actually look into things. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of what I've learned was from this white guy. Actually, two people. Actually, three situations. It was a white guy who just broke it all down. He was like, bro, we're all humans. Like, he literally was like, you know, like, you're that way because of such and such and such. I'm this way because of such and such and such. He broke it. He has, as a matter of fact, he had a book. And this other white woman, this other person, is a white woman. And they don't know each other. She said the same thing. She was like, and she had the book. She was like, look. And she broke down evolution and everything. She was like, evolution is racist. She was like, it's wrong. You know, notice how the darker people are here, and then they have the lighter people here. She was like, it uses racism against black people to explain, like, Darwinism, you know. And then she was like, if you get the book The Origin of Species, he spends the last chapters disproving why, and you're proving why his theories don't work. And then after I talked to these two, like I said, they don't even know each other, these two people. After that, I went and did the research. And I was like, they're right. They're absolutely right. You know? And then, I'll be honest, I always kind of had an inkling, because I was always kind of, I don't know how I came to this conclusion. Well, I know how. But I had noticed that, I said, you know what? I don't, like, there's the, you know, there's the white people that say all black people are, you know, this and that. And then there's the black people that say all white people are this and that. And I was like, but you don't like Uncle Junebug, so how you got all these excuses, you know? And then I kind of looked at history. I'm like a history buff. I looked at history. I said, the Hutus didn't like the Tutsis. And then the Jamaicans don't like African Americans. African Americans don't like Jamaicans. Jamaican and African Americans don't like the Haitians. Jamaicans don't like the Haitians. And I was like, and the Africans don't like nobody. And I was like, the Scotch don't like the Irish. You know, and then you got, like, I don't know, like, the Germans didn't like the Jews. And then, you know what I mean? Then I was like, the Iraqis don't like the Iranians. And I was like, the Mexicans don't like the Guatemalans. And the Guatemalans don't like the Hondurans. And I was like, if I don't love somebody who looks like me, what makes you think I'm gonna even like somebody who doesn't look like me? And I was like, that's when it was like an aha moment. I was like, it's a human condition. I was like, we got issues with tribalism and territorialism, and it's the human condition. We just find reasons to hate. Race and ethnicity is just an excuse. We find reasons for that stuff. We find reasons. Bro, in America, you can have one family, like, for instance, you got the Hatfields and McCoys. Two families hating each other. You got Romeo and Juliet. Two families hating each other. They're both white. They hate each other. In America, you got the Bloods and the Crips. There are literally one dude, brothers. One dude can be a Blood, one good dude could be a Crip, and they hate each other because they belong to different gangs. It's the human condition, man. Yeah. No, Anton Burton, no, you're right. It's not rather it's you disagree or agree. It's just a fact. Yeah. Now, you could hide your head in the sand and be like, I don't want to hear it. And that's fine. But be honest and say you don't want to hear it. Because if a fact is a fact, and you say, well, I don't believe that. Okay, well, you don't believe in gravity. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, okay, well, if you want to believe that, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to put my head in the sand. I can fly. I don't believe in gravity. I can fly. I don't want to hear about gravity. Okay, jump off a building. So, like, I know what you're talking about. But, yeah, man. But let me get out of here. It's 8:46. It's about time for me to eat because I'm starving. This was a good discussion.